We welcome you to the Paradise Coast, where the drama in USL League One reaches its climax tonight. FC Naples hoping to remain in the chase for a top 4 finish against a Charlotte side that must get a result to keep its playoff hopes intact. Tonight's match is presented by Physicians Regional Healthcare System, care for every goal. We say hello and welcome here from Naples. I'm Sam Goldfarb. Here is your look at the table entering the final match day of USL League One play. As you can see right now, FC Naples a point off the pace in terms of the top 4 chase and a home playoff game. Meanwhile, for Charlotte, they need a point to ensure safe passage into the postseason. They've made things a bit difficult on themselves over the course of the final few months. Well, this is a Naples side that is pretty strong at home, and that speaks to how important this match is, because if they are to win and get a home playoff game, the numbers show they are much better on home soil. 10 more goals at home. If you factor in the goal difference, a 16-goal swing between their home and away performance, hoping to perform well again tonight at home, and this man may have a little something to say about that. Carson Henderlong, our player to watch, presented by Parker Hudson Homes. 12 goals to his name, tied for 3rd in the league, but none in the last 6. That's his longest goal drought of the season. They'll rely on him to produce if Naples is to get a result. On the opposite side of things, it is a Charlotte team that has left points on the table, especially at home. This is a team that has won just 3 of its last 17 USL League One fixtures, dropping points against Spokane despite being a man up for the better part of an hour, and also last week against Chattanooga. That's put them in a position where they have no breathing room tonight. They must get a point. A player who could take advantage of the opportunity and the pressure and the chance to shine is John Baccaro, our player to watch, presented by Parker Hudson Homes. He is so dynamic in terms of creating chances, 2nd in the Golden Playmaker race. Keep your eye on number 9 in the away strip this evening. We are just about set for the final match day of the USL League One regular season, and it is a game in which both teams need a result. Stick with us, lineups and kickoff when we return from Paradise Coast Sports Complex.
Hey, same shirt.
Is it?
Well, yours is new, obviously.
It only looks new. That's because he takes it to Tide Cleaners, where we keep clothes looking newer 50% longer. At Tide Cleaners, we care about your clothes as much as you do.
How's it look?
Newer 50% longer.
Awesome.
Hey, same order.
Head to my.tidecleaners.com to get started.
Luxury isn't just about where you live, it's about how you live. At Parker Hudson Homes, we craft bespoke residences where elegance meets effortless comfort. From custom builds to refined remodels, every detail is designed around you, your style, your vision, your way of living. Create a home that's truly yours and discover Parker Hudson Homes today.
Here on Florida's Paradise Coast, you can play your way. Whether you prefer an action-packed court, a leisurely round of golf, or the thrill of watching a professional soccer match, your only challenge is finding a way to do it all. So visit a luxurious playground that scores big for everything from its award-winning beaches to its incredible restaurants. Because when you want a vacation where all is perfect, only Paradise will do. Naples, Marco Island, and the Everglades.
We welcome you back to Naples, where we are just about set for kickoff on the final day of the USL League One regular season. Both FC Naples and Charlotte Independence hoping to get results to solidify their respective positions inside the top 8. Sam Goldfarb here bringing you all of the action. It's now time to get a look at our starting lineups presented by the law offices of Mark L. Shapiro, big enough to handle serious cases, small enough to care. Just one change for Matt Poland from last week's 1-0 defeat against Spokane. Andres Farina's out, so Ian Cerro takes his place on the right-hand side. Otherwise, everything else is normal in their classic 4-1-4-1 setup. Chris Heckenberg in the pivot directing traffic. On the opposite side for Charlotte and Mike Jeffries, this is what they go with. Also just one change from what was a 2-1 defeat last Friday night against Chattanooga Red Wolves, and that comes in the midfield. Tomi Moshabane is back in the squad. Meanwhile, Juan David Moreno is on the bench. Well, this is the big one for both of these clubs, both playing for something on the final match day of the USL League One regular season. For Charlotte, the stakes far more perilous. Even if they do drop points, if results break their way elsewhere, they could get into the top 8 in the playoff field, but it becomes a little more tenuous. On the other side for Naples, they know they must win in order to keep themselves in striking distance of a home playoff match. They would need to win and then get help elsewhere, preferably a victory by Spokane Velocity over Union Omaha, a match that is also kicking off at the same time as this one. When you think about the ongoing results as things stand, things going rather favorably for Charlotte. Of course, a point ensures, regardless of what happens elsewhere, that they are into the playoffs. But with Portland Hearts of Pine sharing the spoils with AV Alta, that eliminates AV Alta from playoff contention. So what that means is everything hinges on the Madison result. And when you look at the Henny Derby at halftime, a 3-1 lead for Richmond over Madison. So as things stand, they would get into the playoffs irrespective of result. But of course, a point ensures that there is no room for jeopardy on that front. It is Naples and Charlotte for the second and final time this year on the final match day of the USL League One regular season, and it is underway from the Paradise Coast. This should be a fun one as both these teams play with considerable stakes at play. Sam Goldfarb taking you every step of the way. Looking forward to seeing how this one unfolds. It's a pair of squads that aren't in their best veins of form. For Charlotte, the fast start to the season, and then the lull through the second half of the campaign. For Naples, up and down the last few months. Here's the cross from Onen. It falls kindly. An early chance parried away by Amel Knight. And there is the first warning shot. Torres again making that delayed run. And this time it is tracked down well by Bashir and Jai. Only as far as Dengler though. For FC Naples, for a while it looked like they would cruise to a top 4 finish. At one point, 10 matches unbeaten throughout the late summer and early fall. They were cruising, but now 4 defeats in the last 5, including 3 straight entering the evening. And it has seen them slip outside the top 5 following the 1-0 defeat last week on this ground against Spokane Velocity. A frustrating one, Matt Poland said. Felt it was one of their most complete matches of the year performance-wise. When you look at the scoreline, it read 1-0 to the visitors, just a second league defeat on home soil throughout the entirety of the League One campaign. And it has left them in need of a win and help elsewhere to finish the season inside those coveted top 4 places. It has ended in Portland, as we mentioned earlier, 2-2 between Hearts of Pine and AV Alta. So AV Alta cannot overtake Charlotte. And again, right now in the Henny Derby, Madison is trailing by a 3-1 scoreline. So that would leave Charlotte with nothing to do, even if they suffered defeat. It was 1 point to ensure, regardless of result elsewhere, they would get into the playoffs. He may not even need that point, although Mike Jeffries understands that stranger things can happen and he'd much rather secure a result. Glasser. And here's Henderlong's first proper touch. It's back for Max Glasser. A flashing ball to the back post and evades everyone in navy blue. Well, there is Matt Pullins. He has overseen a very successful first campaign. He's mentioned that in the midst of what hasn't been the dream slate of results the last 5 games, they have accomplished their ultimate goal, which is to reach the postseason. And he said to his lads this week, it's important to take the pressure off. Yes, obviously, we want to perform well in front of our home fans, and we want to host a quarterfinal match. But at the end of the day, not many first-year clubs get this opportunity to play in the postseason and potentially even have a chance of hosting. And that is where they find themselves as things stand. So this week it was about having fun, reconnecting with the game, and generally embracing the task in front of them as Mo Shabani wins this back. He's brought down in the area by Dangler. And not enough contact for our referee Corbin May's liking. Well, on the opposite end, it is a match that definitely carries more stakes for Mike Jeffries and company, a longtime head man of Charlotte Independence in his 7th season who has overseen plenty of success since Charlotte made the move down to USL League One ahead of that 2022 campaign. Took them to the final in 2023. He mentioned this week that this is a playoff match a week early effectively. They know that getting a result eradicates all semblances of doubt, and that is what they will look to do. He has mentioned that there have been problems defending on the counterattack and set pieces these last few weeks. Of course, against Chattanooga, conceding twice in the first 16 minutes was always going to be a recipe for struggle. And he said, you cannot start the way we did and expect a result, especially against Chattanooga Red Wolves. Now it's about putting that on the back burner and refocusing for 90 full minutes against a side that toppled them a little over a month ago in Charlotte. In a match where Jacks controlled the bulk of the contest possession-wise. This is direct to Cheney. Look for Beccaro, but it was broken up. Well, fans, get ready for all of the exciting postseason action as the USL playoffs presented by Terminix kick off in November. The top teams will battle it out for the ultimate prize. Go to USLLeague1.com for all the latest playoff information. Those start next week. Quarterfinals beginning on Saturday, running through Sunday as well. Question is, will Naples be hosting one of those quarterfinals? And will Charlotte be partaking? Those will be answered over the course of the next 85 minutes and change. Some good news if you're a Naples supporter. Spokane has just scored. So 1-0 advantage over Union Omaha. So that would mean that if Naples wins, given the current score lines, that would mean that they would host next week. Portland out of the running after dropping points earlier tonight. Jaime, though, with other ideas for Charlotte. And now Clay Dimmick, the captain. Mo Shabani. Headed away by Heckenberg, who was clattered into by Jaime. The goal for Spokane, scored by a rather infrequent starter, Marky Hernandez. Those League One fans may remember him for his time at Northern Colorado Hailstorm, where he was a more frequent presence. Maybe justifying Lee Wiedemann's faith in him in the final day. Torres. What a rapid rise he's enjoyed. Partnering O'Connor with regularity in the center of midfield throughout the second half of this season. Beccaro. He is always a danger whenever he steps on it and plays it wide for Jaime. Early cross in towards Cheney. He's wrestled off it by Max Glasser. It is a match that pits two of the top forwards in the league against each other as well, and Cheney and Henderlong both even in the Golden Boot race. As Baquero's cross deflected away by Torres. It would take considerable bit of goal scoring by either, though, to test Obregon. Now Sorensen, and he wins the match's first corner for Charlotte. Well, that gives us a chance to tell you that all corner kicks tonight are presented by Anderson. Trust your home to Anderson. Charlotte Independence showing a bit of early promise and now hoping to make an instant impact. Baquero within swing towards the near post. It does run all the way through. Finally stabbed out of danger. Sis. Pulls for Cheney. Just looking for that angle to shoot, as he always does. Second all-time leading goal scorer in this league, Christian Cheney, has done it for 3 different League One clubs. Best known, of course, for his time at Madison, but no slouch as a Central Valley Fuego player back in the day. Glasser. There's O'Connor. Long ball towards Onan. Just couldn't quite latch onto it. It required immediate interference from Anton Sorensen and company. It's time for our injury report presented by the law offices of Mark L. Shapiro. Big enough to handle serious cases, small enough to care. None officially reported for Naples, but important to note, no Farine in the squad this evening. 2 officially out for Charlotte, Mike DeShields and Javin Romero, 2 center backs who opened the year as big features in the 11, unavailable for a considerable period of time. Here's the cross from Henderlong. Winds up being comfortable for Amal Knight. Interesting story between the sticks. All year, Matt Levy the go-to. Amal Knight brought in, though, in the late summer, starting his 6th consecutive match. He's the USL League One veteran. This is Baquero. Overlapping run from Sorensen. And an arcing ball that runs out of play. It's now time for our keys to the game, presented by Florida's Paradise Coast. For FC Naples, executing on set pieces key. This is a team that is threatening with all of its size on corner kicks and free kicks. On the other end of things, Charlotte having to manage the counterattacks. Mike Jeffries mentioning that that's been an area of weakness for them defensively over the course of the last few months, and Naples one of the best counterattacking sides in the league. This is O'Connor looking for Onan. Nearly picked him out as well. Falls for Torres. Arced back in, and Cerro can't catch up to it. Well, here's your look at the early chance. You see it's a chip ball from Torres. It's on a platter for Cerro, who's a couple steps late. Could have been far more problematic for Charlotte if it was timed a touch better. Glasser. Well, for those just joining us, we welcome you into the Paradise Coast Sports Complex on Decision Day in USL League One. It's an FC Naples side that needs to win in order to secure a home playoff match. They'll need that and a Spokane Velocity draw or win at Union Omaha. On the other side of things for Charlotte, a point ensures that they are into the playoffs, clinching that 8th and final spot, the only one up for grabs. But as things stand right now, results breaking in their favor that even if they were to lose, they would likely still qualify. Still a lot to play for, though, for both of these clubs. It's been a promising start from Charlotte especially. Still have yet to truly test Lalo Delgado between the sticks, though. This is Baquero. Mo Shabani, that's clever. Was looking for Bashir Njai. Falls for now for Cheney, who has a hit first time. No real issues for Delgado, though. Well, another interesting twist of fate here. Forward Madison, down 3-1. Remember, they are the only team that could overtake Charlotte at this point for the final playoff spot. Won a penalty, and then Derek Gebhardt had it saved by James Sneddon. So it's still 3-1 to Richmond in the Henny Derby. So again, if that holds, regardless of whether Charlotte wins, loses, or draws, they finish in the top 8. That match in the second half, around the 52nd minute mark. This over the top towards Glasser, who was tugged back. Free kick just outside the area now for Naples. This is where they can ask plenty of questions. Yellow card brandished as well.
To the Charlotte Independent.
He's just lofted. Glasser gets inside his defender and Sorensen, and no hesitation. It's a cynical challenge, and it's one that yields him the game's first yellow. That yellow card, a first for either side. And it is presented by the exclusive personal injury attorneys for FC Naples, the law offices of Mark L. Shapiro. Kevin O'Connor stands over it, the 30-year-old Irishman. Has been one of the top unheralded midfielders in the league this year, especially as a set-piece delivery man. Keep your eye on Carson Henderlong. He loves to throw himself at these. O'Connor loops it for goal, and Mel Knight saw it the entire way. It's out for a corner.
Corner kick for FC.
Corner kicks, as we've already mentioned to you, brought to you by Anderson. Trust your home to Anderson. And this is Naples' first of the match. Maybe O'Connor's caught between two minds here. Is trying to play it into the quarter of uncertainty, but at the same time, seemed keen to try and catch out Knight at his far post. Instead, just a corner. Heckenberg, low within swing. That wound up being rather underwhelming. It is such an exciting decision day throughout the USL, especially in League One. While there's only one playoff spot up for grabs, 7 teams officially clinching entering the weekend, there is still a lot to play for, be it, of course, in the home playoff field chase in which Naples is actively embroiled, or even in the Players' Shield race. Right now, one Knoxville taking on Greenville Triumph as Chattanooga faces Westchester. One Knoxville effectively really only needing a draw to ensure they wrap up the Players' Shield. But a win would completely lock that down. Of course, One Knox is looking to become the only League One side to go an entire season unbeaten on home soil. as they hope to be the 1 seed in the League One playoffs next week. Three of 4 teams know they will be hosting matches. Knoxville, Chattanooga, and Spokane. Not clinched by Spokane after they stole one late against Naples, a Louise Hill 87th minute winner last Saturday. A goal that really frustrated Matt Pullen. Said it's inexplicable how that fell to him at the back post with both Delgado and Cisneros being there, but they were unable to run it clear and paid the dearest of prices. It's presented them with the uphill climb they face in the quest to secure a match on home ground next week. Cisneros linking with Onan. This is Henderlong. Loses it out, and Jaime giving chase the other way. Torres runs it down admirably. In the interest of discussing the Player Shield race, there is a goal to report. Chattanooga Red Wolves have taken the lead against Westchester. Here's Cheney, drops the shoulder. Can't negotiate himself around Evans, but it is one back. And now Sis loses out. Maybe space the other direction. Onan can't quite keep it in play, though. Goal scored by Omar Hernandez in the 17th minute. So Chattanooga leads Westchester. Knoxville, though, would still be top of the table. Same amount of wins if that result were to hold and Knoxville was to draw. And they have a goal difference advantage of 4. So would take a massive victory by Chattanooga to change that. Torres, he's dispossessed. This is Njai. Dimmick. Long time Charlotte Independence man. 20 minutes gone, and we still have yet to report our first true chance of the game. Both teams approaching this rather tactically. Going into the match, you would have thought that maybe Charlotte would be on the back foot more than they have been, considering that Naples is after this, and they knew entering the night all they needed was a draw. It's been more even and back and forth than we would have expected, despite the fact that Naples knows it must win for its home game aspirations. Baquero gets it back from Bashir Njai. And now Cheney onto it. Bypassing 2 defenders with ease. And has numbers in support. Here's Cheney's cross. It falls for Sorensen. Can't shape up to shoot cleanly. Now onto his left. Back to his right. Naples with plenty of time to recover now. That is not inventive enough to unlock one of the better back lines in the league, one that's conceded the joint 4th least goals in the division with 32 on the season. Njai, though. Sorensen. That cross well off the mark. Well, fans, Select is proud to be the official match ball supplier of the USL Championship. From the academy to the big league, Select is there every step of the way. Visit us.select-sport.com for the latest Select product specials and more. Select, the player's choice. Midway through this first half, and no score between FC Naples and Charlotte Independence. Second and final game of the year between these two clubs on USL League One's decision day. First meeting, a 1-0 victory for Naples in Charlotte, courtesy of Onan's 74th minute penalty kick. That a game, though, where Naples was on the back foot for large spells. Mike Jeffrey saying that he did not expect this same match script to unfold He feels that, if anything, this is a game where they'll have to be a little more pragmatic defensively to protect a result and then pick their spots the other direction. Here's Cerro. Cross in. Stabbed away with relative ease. Now Heckenberg. Referee says play on. Onen linking with Mark Torres. Clatters it into the thicket of defenders. And Jai is tugged down. Yellow card brandished and shown to Heckenberg for the first Naples caution of the night.
FC Naples, Chris Heckenberg. This yellow card brought to you by the law offices of Markel Shapiro.
He's usually one of the cleaner midfielders in the division. A defensive midfielder that breaks play up, reads the game so well. He draws rave reviews out of Matt Poland, who feels he's one of the more underrated and under-heralded players in the division. Someone who's played all 4 seasons of his pro career in League One. Probably not rated as highly as he should have been due to the struggles of Central Valley Fuego on the pitch last season. This year, though, getting far more acclaim for his role in what has been one of the more defensively sound entities in USL League One. Baquero. Onen helping out defensively now. And now Cerro. Otherwise, throughout the league, South Georgia Tormenta has scored against Texoma, which, as things stand, that would mean Tormenta would actually overtake FC Naples. So in the live table, Naples sits 6th. Remember, though, 1 goal could change everything. They could leap up to 4th with 1 swing of the boot. Can Dangler provide it here? No, he cannot. It knuckles wide. Well, he's not shy about letting it rip from long range. This was always audacious, though. And it was always hooking the wrong direction as well. No real trouble for Amal Knight. He is a brave center back, though, Jake Dangler. When you look at the way this Naples side is constructed, throughout the year has been built on their back line, especially their center back pairing. Breck Evans and Jake Dangler, 2 of the more experienced center back players in USL League One. When you combine their years of experience in the division, over 10 years combined of USL League One experience, of course, with Evans being in his 6th season in the league. Dangler himself playing at multiple stops as well. When you talk to Matt Poland, especially early in the season, he emphasized that it starts with our back line. He had faith that the attacking output would come, and it has come in spurts. It is a side that at one point ranked comfortably in the top 4 in goals before a recent stretch where they've only managed 1 goal in the last 3 matches. They have a capability to explode when all breaks right. Will make them one of the tougher outs in the playoffs, regardless of who they face. O'Connor. Is sprayed for Onen. Nodded away with relative aplomb. Sorensen lost his footing. Moshabani. Baquero. Looping it back for Moshabani. Nearly fell kindly for him. Ebbs and flows thus far. You've seen moments of Charlotte dominance. No real issues for the center backs to contend with, though, for Naples. Will that change here? Dimmick on the underlap, cuts it back towards Jaime. Just behind him. For all of the talk about Naples and their slight up and down spurts since the early stages of summer, it's that much more pronounced with Charlotte. This is a Charlotte side that has won 7 of their first 11 league matches. We're comfortably in the top 4 for much of the first half of the season. And then this recent rut hit. 3 wins in their last 17 USL League One contests as we hit off the top. And while 2 of those have come in the last 5 games, it's basically put them in a position where they've limped into the final day, clinging to a top 8 spot. Matt Pullen seems displeased about something, usually relatively calm on the touchline, but maybe feels he needs to see an increase in the tempo and build. It is important to note that with the conversation surrounding Charlotte's rocky second half, it'd be remiss if you don't mention that it is a team that lost arguably its 2 best players. Luis Alvarez transferring to Tampa Bay Rowdies for an interleague record fee in June, and then of course Alfredo Medense, who is the key to their counterattacking style, also being recalled by Lexington, his parent club, as this long throw goes into the mixer. Charlotte has issues dealing with it. Just about do, though. Well, some good news if you are a Charlotte Independence fan, despite a first half that has left you with little to write home about, really on either end of the pitch. Richmond Kickers lead Ford Madison 4-1 in the Henny Derby. So again, if that holds, which that match is currently in the 67th minute, Charlotte will know that they are a playoff team. And they may do so in style. Here's a chance brewing. Cross deflected away, and rather tame for Delgado. And now Lalo Delgado appears to be in a touch of discomfort. Well, it is important to note, he's dealt with some lingering knocks this year. None officially reported, but in that AV Alta match in late September, the game in which they clinched the playoffs, he did suffer an injury that lingered throughout the first and the bulk of the second. Was replaced by Yoel Serrano for the final 6 minutes. Here's maybe where it could have flared up. Off his line, and maybe feels a little tug as he goes to claim that ball. This is definitely something to monitor, especially if you're a Naples supporter. Your goalkeeper, who is in contention for all league honors for the 2nd consecutive year, prone on the deck. Mike Jeffries is still coaching like Charlotte is fighting for its playoff life. Have had it all to play for and still urging his men forward. Again, his accomplishments can't be disputed. Stint number 2 now with Charlotte. I've already mentioned that run to the final they made in which they fell on penalties to North Carolina FC in 2023. Their Dogwood Derby foes. Last year, of course, it was about putting that on the back burner and finished the year in 6th. It was a similar story to this one, albeit less dramatic. Opened the year again comfortably in the top 4 for large spells and then limped to the finish. Wound up finishing 6th and were eliminated in the quarterfinals on a freezing evening in Madison. They fell by a 2-0 scoreline. Christian Cheney, of course, playing for their opposite numbers in that contest. Matt Pullen is hoping to guide his side into a home quarterfinal match in their inaugural season. He, of course, is someone who's been based out of Marco Island, a municipality near Naples, for the better part of a decade at this stage, but best known for his time in Chicago as a manager. Managed Chicago House in Nisa for 3 years after serving 1 year as an assistant. Has built a lot of connections throughout the lower leagues of American soccer, and those have all coalesced into the squad he has today. A lot of players that he either coached during his time at Chicago House or played against, or just players that he's been recommended to by some of his trusted confidants in the industry. He said that he is so proud with the way this side has gelled and developed over the course of the year. Very few players had actually played together. Even fewer had played in a professional postseason prior to signing with the club. And when you looked at the beginning of season power rankings, they were picked 13th of 14 clubs. at one point this team was in contention for the Player Shield, and it speaks to the job that he's done to build a clearly defined identity, as well as the way his players have built relationships with one another and gelled into one of the more difficult sides to break down throughout the division. It has been a dream story in the club's first season. Hoping it will continue on with success in the playoffs next week. We're back underway. As of now, it appears Lalo Delgado will continue for Naples, but watch that space. Dengler sprays it wide to Cisneros, who is onto it. Darts inside Jaime. It's a decent cross, but it's right at Amal Knight. Ultimately, another eye-popping interchange comes to largely nothing. Scintillating switch this, and you see Cisneros get the step on Christopher Jaime, who's never really on solid footing. It's a cross that is maybe a touch tight on Knight and doesn't get the flick on he desired. Another player, though, who has exceeded all preseason expectations. A first-year pro out of Loyola Chicago. Who was a dynamic fullback both in the Missouri Valley and Atlantic 10 conferences. Has added some attacking punch, especially over the last few months. Had a brilliant solo goal against AV Alta on this ground about a month ago. That their last win in league play on September 27th. Here's Sorensen, well over the bar. Well, for Charlotte fans that need to ease their nerves even more, it is now 5-1 to Richmond. A fifth goal flying in the 71st. And how about this? In the Henny Derby, Forward Madison being denied a potential postseason berth by their sworn rivals. Meanwhile, Union Omaha has leveled proceedings against Spokane. So that provides them with a bit of breathing room. Now, a point clear of Naples. Baquero. Switch of the play. It does run all the way through. And now Dimmick. For Omar Sis, a veteran of this Charlotte side in year 4. Baquero's ball in. Redirected away. Falls nicely for Dimmick, though. Bashir and Jai giving chase. And too much shoving in the process. That won't stand. Bit of a grappling match in the area. And Bashir and Jai exceeding the threshold of contact allowed. It's a slight shove, but that's what does the job. And then Cheney, of course, finishing off the action as any good striker should. But denied his opener. Cerro. Final 10 minutes of the first half. For those joining us, we welcome you into Paradise Coast Sports Complex. A KG1 this, played between the 18s, both teams with their moments going forward. But at the end of the day, few chances of note. Naples probably the slightly better of them. Although this is an eye-popping one that just runs beyond Henderlong. And that's been the story of the first half, especially for Naples. Moments where they catch the eye, but no moments of devastation in front of goal. This a lovely ball, perfectly weighted, and Henderlong just can't get that proper first touch to it. He understands that that is the type of service he requires. It's the type of service that he usually dispatches. Sorensen drives it low. Breck Evans is first to it. And Henderlong committing the transgression in the process, and earning a stern warning from our lead official, Corbin May. Adewole. Wide for Bakero. Has space to whip it in. No one there in goal to greet it. Appeared only as far as Christopher Jaime, though. When you think about the number of options Charlotte has going forward, they are still a dangerous club. Even though results haven't gone their way the last few weeks, this is a side that won't roll over. They make life difficult for any of their foes. John Bakero, of course, the headliner, chasing that Golden Playmaker award, would likely require multiple assists for him to even have a share of the trophy. Entered tonight, one behind Charlie Ostrom. Here's Sis. Heckenberg there to break it up, and now in plenty of space, and this likely will be a booking for Omar Sis. That it is. Breaking up the counter at the source. Well, he's a couple steps behind Heckenberg and just clips him at the heels. Knows exactly what he's doing, and understandably, no complaints for the native of Dakar, Senegal. That yellow card presented by the law offices of Mark El Shapiro, the personal injury attorneys of FC Naples. Inching towards the final 5 minutes of the first half. And still little to write home about in the way of attacking opportunity. Just one combined shot on goal thus far. Came for FC Naples, and it was not really one that caused any concern for Amal Knight. You wonder if that's shot number 2 on goal. Onan is slow to return to his feet. For those unfamiliar with all of his ability, with that has come injury concern. Less so this year. Last year, an injury-riddled campaign with Lexington. This season did miss a good chunk of late summer matches. Has started the last 8 matches since returning and still made an impact. 6 goals to his name in league play. Bit of concern for him as he goes down outside the normal run of action. You see him standing up on the far side after this is headed goalward. He just goes down on his own volition. Well, a quick refresher for everyone. Matt Pullen's men still playing for a chance to host a quarterfinal match that will be talked about ad nauseum throughout the evening. Right now, in the live table, a point behind Union Omaha, who has pulled a leveler against Spokane Velocity through Ryan Betcher in the 31st minute. So what that means is, even if Omaha does earn a draw, if Naples wins, they would overtake them and finish inside the top 4. Like Jeffrey's men, they have a better idea now of their fate, given that Avialta are now out of the running after drawing against Portland Hearts of Pine. And as we've already mentioned, Forward Madison not in a healthy spot by any means. 5-1 deficit in the final 10 minutes against their sworn rival in Richmond Kickers. That will be a Henny Derby that is talked about for years to come, especially in the Richmond community. On the final day of the season, with your arch rival entering, looking for a chance to progress into the playoffs, you end those hopes in such emphatic fashion to the point where it will be an embarrassing conversation point for the Mingos and their supporters, probably for the entire offseason. Well, Richmond well out of the running. That will be one of the brighter days of their season. Hearing word that Omaha has just taken the lead against Spokane. So if that were to become the final result, 2-1. Naples would not be able to host regardless of result here. Glasser's cross, it's right at night. Goal was scored by Max Schneider for those curious. What a turnaround that would be for Union Omaha, a club that spent parts of the early summer in the basement of USL League One. Their head coach Dom Casciato, who led them to League One glory a season ago, moving up to the championship, and still Vincenzo Candela turning it around and turning them into arguably the hottest team in the entire league. We inch towards the final minute of the initial 45. The picture for both these clubs becoming far clearer than it was at kickoff. This is Onan. Rolls comfortably back to Toby Adewole, who joined the club mid-season from Westchester SC. Was a regular starter for Dave Carton's men, of course, the former Charlotte Independence assistant. Made the move to Charlotte after suffering injury and then falling out of the 11 with the signings of Juan Palma and a few other pieces in defense. And in the absence of Javin Romero and as well as DeShields, who's been out a fair bit, he's taken up that center back position for the better part of the last 3 weeks or so. O'Connor tipping this into the danger zone. And again, no one there to redirect it goalward.
Clock has stopped at 45 minutes and added time is being kept on the field. There will be a minimum of 4 minutes of added time in the first half. Added time presented.
4 minutes of stoppage time presented by Tide Cleaners. Separating us from intermission. It is the first half in which the visitors have yet to record a true shot on target. Both shots on goal for Naples. Neither really testing Amal Knight. Although looking to change that now. Serral has a step, cuts in on his left, threads it through to Henderlong. Back for Ian Serral in space. Deflected away with relative comfort in the end. Now Charlotte bursting the other way. And Evans is there to clean it up. Glasser. Low cross, Henderlong goes down, appeals for a penalty, and they're waved away by a referee. In fact, the whistle actually sounds against Naples, to the chagrin of those in attendance. Brilliant ball. I tell you what, that is a talking point for sure. It does look like Henderlong is going down, and then maybe he tugs his defender with him. The referee ultimately sounding the whistle for unrelated contact on the opposite end of that 18-yard box. Right in front of Labada 239. Onan. Seems no worse for wear after the earlier scare. O'Connor. Onan. Getting involved in the 1-2, but it's right to Adewole. Well, closing stages of this first half. And the question is, can one of these two sides test their opposite number between the sticks? That has yet to be the case. Naples looks the more likely, but they have yet to get the final touch on any of those crosses or cutbacks that have meandered toward the 6. It's been a night of frustration for attacking players thus far, and one of enjoyment for both sets of center backs. Probably the calmest first half they'll play all season long. Final minute of the added 4. This likely the final sojourn forward for either side. If if Naples even opts to venture forward before the break. Ender long, loose touch. This is Njai. Cheney lets it run. Mo Shabani giving chase. Glasser is there first. There is the halftime whistle. Well, very little in it going forward for both clubs, and scoreless at halftime as a result. 2 combined shots on goal for these two teams in the opening 45 minutes and change, and we sit at a stalemate at intermission. A Naples side that had the better of the ball, had half chances that materialized, but nothing troubling a Mal Knight between the sticks. And with both these clubs starting to understand the fate that awaits them next week, they find themselves in a deadlock. At halftime, the scoreline reads Naples 0, Charlotte 0. Naples progressive going forward, but they have yet to breach Charlotte's defenses. We'll step aside briefly. When we return, a look inside FC Naples as a club. Stick with us.
Pitches this over the top of the end line. A blast! Rustles the twine! Jaden Oden! This is Oden across for Enderlong, and Naples in front!
More tables, more entertainment, more slots, more fun. More than you expected. There's more in paradise at Seminole Casino Hotel in Immokalee.
We welcome you back to Naples. We're at halftime, presented by Physicians Regional Healthcare System. Our scoreline reads Naples 0, Charlotte 0 on the final day of the USL League One regular season. It's time to get a look inside FC Naples as a club with our weekly podcast, Extra Time, featuring a sit-down with head coach Matt Poland.
And welcome into Extra Time, a weekly video podcast with Fox 4 and FC Naples, where we take you behind the scenes every week for the first season of professional soccer here in Southwest Florida. And what a first season it has been. We're down to the final match, but don't worry, we got the playoffs just around the corner. We got a whole lot to talk about. Here's the GAFA. since we're about to enter the playoffs, and that's when sports get cruel. You know, I mean, it's single elimination, and so whereas during the regular season, you know, hey, 3 weeks from now we're facing this team. You don't know if you've got a match 3 weeks from now, and if you do, you don't know who it's against. You don't know where it's going to be. How do you sort of process all of this unknown?
Yeah, basically, once Saturday ends, it's a new season. Everything that all the hard work, all the sacrifice, all the results, basically they just go away. Obviously, you know, with seeding and playing at home or not, that changes some things, but ultimately the games still have to be played. And as you said, it's single elimination. So now any team, regardless of their ranking, has to take care of business every single game of the playoffs, or else their season's over. So it's kind of a moment to refresh, a moment to, you know, get excited for, because now it's fully, you know, based on your success or failures if you get to keep playing. So it's an exciting time.
But let's talk about the end of the season here. A couple things stand out in the inaugural season. 5 new teams joined USL League One, including you guys. Only 2 have made the playoffs. You know, now AV Alta might be able to sneak in, but, you know, it's you and Portland. Coincidentally, you and Portland up towards the top of the league as far as league attendance. I mean, this community has really embraced it. They have as well. What do you point to for the amount of success you've been able to have in your first season?
Yeah, I mean, there's numerous things that it takes. Obviously, it starts with, even before I got here, with the front office and getting the right sponsorships in, selling season tickets, building the community, the scouting process of players, then the formation of a team culture, a team identity, the players themselves getting the results week in and week out, our medical staff keeping the guys healthy so they can be available. You know, there's all these different areas you can attribute, and it takes, you know, it takes a village to have success. And so it's great to see the connection from the field to off the field.
Join us every week on Extra Time.
Whoa, termites can eat a pound of wood a day. 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 What's wrong, Daddy? Daddy? You okay?
Keep termites out of your home and your head with our premium guarantee that covers up to $250,000 in new termite damage. Before panic shows up, Terminix it.
Prinks Tires in the USL help soccer journeys everywhere to drive harder. From city playgrounds to suburban sidelines. From early mornings to late nights. From fun with friends to winner takes all. From the biggest fan to the biggest heart. And at every turn, Prinks Tires will be there for the long haul.
To put Portland into the postseason. Reaches for the whistle. It ends.
Hey, same shirt. Is it? Well, yours is new, obviously.
It only looks new. That's because he takes it to Tide Cleaners, where we keep clothes looking newer 50% longer. At Tide Cleaners, we care about your clothes as much as you do.
How's it look?
Newer 50% longer.
Awesome.
Hey, same order.
Head to my.tidecleaners.com to get started.
We welcome you back to Naples. We're at halftime, presented by Physicians Regional Healthcare System. Our scoreline reads Naples 0, Charlotte 0. Labada 239 in full force as they look to cheer Naples to a victory in what could be their final home match of the 2025 USL League One season. Now at halftime, it's time to get a look at our news and notes, and big news throughout the league, it is always busy. How about Portland setting the attendance record on Tuesday in that dominant thrashing of Spokane Velocity, a 6-1 victory that put them in a position to compete for a home playoff match. Meanwhile, Fort Wayne unveiling its new branding. And finally, how about Naples and Portland, the 4th and 5th expansion teams in their inaugural history to clinch a league berth in league history. That is very impressive. Both these teams have been beacons of consistency the last few months of the year. In terms of our scores presented by Ave Maria, a big kind of small town, here's what you're looking at. Charlotte is officially in the postseason after both AV Alta and Forward Madison have dropped points. And again, we spoke about that Henny Derby. That is a Henny Derby that will live in infamy for residents of Madison, Wisconsin. Live scores throughout the league. The big one of note, Union Omaha leads Spokane Velocity 2-1 despite falling behind early. So as things stand, that would prevent Naples from getting a home playoff match, even if they win here tonight. In terms of how that shakes out and impacts the standings, here is your look at our 14-team table. Those standings presented by WM. This is the live table as things stand with Tormenta leading. Right now, FC Naples would sit 6th. That would put them in position for a trip to Spokane next weekend. Meanwhile, for Charlotte, they've officially clinched a playoff berth after both Ford Madison and AV Alta drop points. So the top 8 is settled. Now it's a question of how the seeding shakes out in the second half and beyond. In terms of our team of the week, here's our standout performers for week 33. JC Obregon Jr., the player of the week, after his brace with a sensational free kick equalizer, powered Westchester to a draw away from home, ending their season with a bit of noise despite being the first team eliminated. No representatives from this fixture included in the team of the week, with both teams losing. Vincenzo Candela, what a job he's done. He's the coach of the week. 3 representatives from Union Omaha there as well. Well, there is your look around USL League One. Time to take another breather, and when we return, the second half from Naples.
Here on Florida's Paradise Coast, you can play your way. Whether you prefer an action-packed court, a leisurely round of golf, or the thrill of watching a professional soccer match, your only challenge is finding a way to do it all. So visit a luxurious playground that scores big for everything from its award-winning beaches to its incredible restaurants. Because when you want a vacation where all is perfect, only Paradise will do. Naples, Marco Island, and the Everglades.
Luxury isn't just about where you live, it's about how you live. At Parker Hudson Homes, we craft bespoke residences where elegance meets effortless comfort. From custom builds to refined remodels, every detail is designed around you, your style, your vision, your way of living. Create a home that's truly yours and discover Parker Hudson Homes today.
More tables, more entertainment, more slots, more fun. More than you expected. There's more in Paradise at Seminole Casino Hotel, Immokalee.
We welcome you back to Naples, who are at halftime. Our scoreline reads Naples 0, Charlotte 0, after a first half in which chances were few and far between. It's time to get a look at those standout moments from the first half with our first half highlights. And it is not many chances of note. Both keepers had a pretty comfortable opening 45 minutes. As you get a look at our first half highlights presented by Lake Park Diner. Some free kicks that tested him all night. This was one that was curling dangerously towards the far post, and Knight punching it away for security. And then in the later stages of the first half, on 34 minutes, this a scintillating switch of the play to Julian Cisneros, who manages to cut inside Christopher Jaime, but ultimately no one there to get ahead on that cross, and wound out being quite routine for Knight in the end. There was one more chance towards the end of the first half for FC Naples. You see them continue to push on. Ian Cerro here. This the best ball they played all half, just beyond the reach of Carson Henderlong. On a different day, he gets a touch to that, and it's 1-0 Naples, but instead it's left on his plate, and no real chances for Naples. Time for our halftime stats presented by Arthrex. Does an injury have you benched? Explore orthopedic treatment options at orthopedia.com. Powered by Arthrex. Here is your look at the numbers. Naples, 56% of the ball. They have the only 2 shots on target, but neither truly troubled them all night. We are still waiting on our first big chance of the contest here on decision day. For Charlotte, just 3 shots, none of which troubled Lalo Delgado. They have plenty of work to do if they are to get a result here. But I do have good news for you. If you are a Charlotte Independence supporter, you've officially clinched a playoff berth. Regardless of what transpires here, you are in. We spotlighted it earlier in our halftime show with AV Ulta dropping points, a 2-2 draw at Portland despite late drama, and Forward Madison getting throttled by Richmond in the Henny Derby. They now know they're in. There is no team that can overtake them as things stand. So this second half, they can play free of pressure. Entering the night, they knew 1 point would secure things without a doubt. At this point, they don't even need to produce a point. Although I'm sure Mike Jeffries will be hoping they can go into the postseason with a bit of pride coming off of victory, considering how this season has maybe grinded to a halt wins-wise over the course of the last few months. Just about ready to get things back underway. Charlotte in the gold kit with the navy numbers. They'll be going left to right on your screen. Carson Henderlong and company for Naples. They'll be going from right to left. Quiet half for Henderlong by his standards. Looking to avoid 7 matches without a goal. Of course, he's in the midst of his longest goal drought of the year. Zamal Knight returns to the pitch a bit later than everyone else in the Charlotte kits. Some concern that if he wasn't going to reemerge, that maybe they'd have to go to the reserves, but the former Jamaican international is back out there and looks ready to keep going. What a presence he's been between the sticks. His performance in what ultimately was a 1-0 defeat at 1 Knoxville in late September was nothing short of remarkable, especially in the first half, to keep Charlotte in it. He's one of the better big save makers in this division. Christian Cheney gets us back underway, and there is a whistle from our lead official, Corbin May. Final half of the USL League One regular season is now ongoing. Sam Goldfarb taking you through this one here at Paradise Coast Sports Complex. First half in which there were just 2 combined shots on target. Both went the way of FC Naples. But now both sides know that they are into the postseason comfortably. It is just a question of seeding. For Charlotte, regardless of result, they'll be locked into the 8th seed. They'll be playing the Players' Shield winners. And in the second half, it's just a question of who those winners are. For Naples, at this current moment, still in contention for a home playoff game, but with Union Omaha flipping an early deficit on its head, they would need Spokane to find an equalizer, and then they would need to win. So a lot would have to go right for them to be playing here on the Paradise Coast next week. Here's Becerril. Rafael Jauregui is into the action. So a change for Mike Jeffries at halftime. Hearing word it is 2 changes presented by Seminole Casino Hotel Immokalee, more in Paradise. Jauregui in for Sis. That is the first of them. And Fabrice Inga replaces Anton Sorensen in a like-for-like swap. Sorensen on a yellow card. No surprise that occurred either. Here's Becerril. Looking to play it through to Mo Shabani, and instead back to Lalo Delgado. Well, in terms of seeding for Naples, as things currently go, they could finish as high as 4th. A lot would have to go right for them to finish there, though. They could also finish as low as 7th. Portland Hearts at Pine level with them on points. FC Naples only above them right now on the total wins tiebreaker. But should they lose, they would fall to 7th, and that would present a rather difficult road fixture against one of Knoxville, Chattanooga, or Spokane. That depends on how results shake out elsewhere. This falls nicely for Cerro. Here's O'Connor hooking it in towards Henderlong. Nick Spielman bashes out of trouble with no real issue. Baquero. Bashir Njai. Another long-term mainstay with Charlotte for years. Part of that 2023 team that reached the final. And this lofted long towards Henderlong. Spielman first to it yet again. Well, fan soccer season is here, and SeatGeek is the official ticketing partner of the USL. Get all your USL tickets and more from the #1 ticketing site, SeatGeek, your ticket to great seats. Early stages of the second half here from Naples, Florida. Final day of the regular season. Both teams now know they will be playing in the postseason next weekend. Naples side that has known that for about a month now, clinching against AV Alta on September 27th. Meanwhile, Charlotte Independence, they enter today facing a touch of tension, but results elsewhere have broken their way, and now it's just a question of whether they end their season on a high note or not. Dimmick looks through to Cheney, nearly latches onto this, and instead Dangler knocks it out for a corner.
Kick for Charlotte.
The first of this second half for either side.
Trust your home to Anderson.
All corner kicks presented by Anderson. Trust your home to Anderson. It's Charlotte's second of the entire contest so far. And a chance for either John Baquero or Tomi Moshibani to ask some questions. Baquero without swing to the back post. Fell nicely for Adewole, who didn't hit it cleanly enough. And Jaime recycles. Spielman flicks along. Baquero dances beyond Cisneros. Driving cross, stabbed away by Heckenberg. Only as far as Moshibani. He'll get a second crack at it now to Baquero. Last-ditch intervention from Torres does the job. Early threat, though, from the Jags. Something that was not a frequent occurrence in the first half. Yet another corner kick presented by Anderson. Trust your home to Anderson. Same duo as before. And it's Baquero once again. This one towards the heart of the area. It's flicked along nicely. Torres again away. Only as far as Fabrice Ngab. Moshibani, former longtime USL Championship presence, had his best seasons with San Diego Loyal, as that dipping cross is right at Delgado. Well, as of now, in line for what would be an 8th clean sheet of the season. A few years back, setting the USL League One single season record for clean sheets with 13 in the 2023 campaign with Northern Colorado Hailstorm. Played a big role in NOCO making back-to-back postseasons, including as the 2 seed a year ago, an all-league second-team selection in 2024. His partnership with Breck Evans, that has dated back now multiple years, has played a key role in building this bedrock Solid back line as this is over the top for Cisneros, who now lays it off. Heckenberg's effort deflected away. But back for Cerro. O'Connor hits it first time towards Heckenberg. Had a rare pop at it, and just underneath it. Well, Chris Heckenberg in the Carson Henderlong position here. You see him just hit this first time, doesn't get his leg over it though, and Amal Knight just watches it sail well over the bar. It's not often though you see Heckenberg join the attack. Maybe Matt Pullen working in some tactical wrinkles ahead of the postseason. Heckenberg as a delayed runner is not something you see every day. Glasser, former Monterey Bay FC man. Well, fans, enter the Prinks Tires Family Game Day Kit Sweepstakes for a chance to win a prize pack worth up to $4,000. Scan the QR code on screen to enter today. Cisneros, cheeky nutmeg this, and gets it back. And the return ball from O'Connor, beyond the reach of both Cisneros and Onan. Well, fans, can't watch the match? Turn on Sirius XM-FC 157, North America's only 24/7 source for engaging soccer talk, including USL All Access on Tuesday nights. Plus, hear live matches from the USL, MLS, Premier League, and more on Sirius XM-FC 157 and the new Sirius XM app. Beginning to reach the boiling point of the USL League One season. Perhaps less drama than we would have expected on the final day, just due to results breaking Charlotte's way elsewhere, but does set the stage for what should be an exciting postseason and a very interesting quest for seeding over these final few matches here. As Torres has a vocal word with Corbin May. No score lines have changed since the break. Chattanooga Red Wolves is level with Westchester for the player shield chase. They would need to win and also see Knoxville lose. Right now, both score lines are level, 0-0 in Knoxville. So if things ended now, Charlotte would travel to Knoxville for their quarterfinal match. Here's Cisneros. Darts inside on his right. Effort was blocked. Torres recycles, though, to his former college teammate in Julian Cisneros. Evans. Forward to Onan. Escorted wide to Glasser. Dances beyond his defender. Cross towards O'Connor. Naples twisting the screws, but they have yet to breach the Charlotte defense. We inch towards the hour mark. Still nothing to separate the two sides, but it's starting to open up a touch. Cerro. Early cross. Henderlong got a touch to it and keeps it alive. Henderlong again. Torres. Heckenberg. Glasser. Naples knocking it about with so much poise. This is a team that averages one of the lower average possession rates in the entirety of USL League One. Tonight, though, taking the fight to Charlotte, looking to break them down. These are the moments where Matt Pullen has emphasized runs in behind to truly open up a defense. Seen that in spurts. O'Connor. There's a lovely ball towards Henderlong, and it rolls for Amal Knight. Torres. O'Connor again, wide for Cisneros, who's been a focal point going forward here to start the second. Remember, in the first fixture, didn't have a breakthrough until the 74th minute. Came on a penalty from Jaden Onan after a handball moments earlier. That had a similar cagey aura that this one does. The difference is Charlotte was on the front foot. This is the exact opposite, with Naples grabbing this by the scruff of the neck. Mike Jeffrey said he felt it would be a different match, and a different match it has been, although the lack of goal scoring has persisted. Evans. Torres on the turn. Looks through for Henderlong, and that's well beyond his reach. Cheney's offside the other way. We've spoken about the current seating position of Charlotte. They would travel to Knoxville if results hold. Obviously still a lot to iron out, but right now FC Naples would travel to Spokane next week. That assumes things don't change, Tormenta's lead doesn't unravel. It would be on the lower end of permutations in terms of seeding entering the day. Here's Cheney. Plays it forward. Bashir Njai runs out of space. Now Baquero. Dimmick. Back for Baquero, the former star at Wake Forest, who was right in the thick of the 2017 Mac Herman Trophy race. Mike Jeffrey saying we always were watching him when he played at Wake, but he was always a little above our range as a club. Played a lot of years both in the championship, drafted to the MLS as well. And the second he became available, they were looking to bring him in, and he wanted to be in North Carolina. Of course, Charlotte suiting those interests rather well, and the two have united this season pretty harmoniously at that. It is a Charlotte club known for bringing in bigger names. Of course, had Miguel Ibarra for years, the former U.S. men's national team call-up, and well, more headline-grabbing, Gabriel Obertan, the former Newcastle United and Manchester United man who played years in Europe, was a mainstay for Charlotte for 3 years before retiring. Mike Jeffrey seems a little frustrated with what he's seen. I'm sure he saw the scoreline at halftime, so maybe not as much desperation from that touchline. Still definitely a desire to go into the postseason with momentum, though. Jauregui. Cheney. This is Bashir Njai yet again. Moshabani. Well, hearing word changes both ways in the offing. Swabu Maru is getting set to enter for Christian Cheney, and on the other side, Luca Purpa set to replace Ian Cerro. It was occurring momentarily. This is Mo Shabani who drops the shoulder. Now Fabrice Nga joining the attack. Baquero, cross in, right at Dangler. Fell nicely for Jaime. And O'Connor can't negotiate out of trouble. Inside the final half hour, still all to play for in the final match of the regular season for these two clubs. Here at the Paradise Coast Sports Complex, Sam Goldfarb bringing you all of the action this evening. A warm one in Naples, as it tends to be year-round. Temperatures in the low 80s, so a little more temperate weather as we exit the sweltering heat here in Southwest Florida. This is Mo Shabani, who continues forward. Nga. That's an errant ball that Heckenberg reads well. And sprayed forward, it is kept in play, and numbers the other way now for Naples. This is Max Glasser, who cuts it across towards Henderlong, and Naples opens the scoring. Goal drought, what goal drought? 1-0. It would always be that man. A rapid counter, Naples bread and butter to a T. Max Glasser bombing ahead. A lovely cross, and Henderlong gets the faintest of touches, which is enough to take it over the goal line and power Naples in front. Carson Henderlong and FC Naples 1, Charlotte Independence 0. Well, he was always bound to get back amongst the goals, and get back amongst the goals he has. Number 9 in Navy, snapping that goal drought that lasted 6 matches and adding goal 13 of the league season. The 25-year-old providing our hop-size goal, the opener in the 64th minute, and Naples leads. Carson Henderlong entered the day tied for 3rd with Christian Chaney in the Golden Boot race. He now moves into tied for 2nd with Niall Reed-Steven of South Georgia Tormenta. And while the ultimate crown may be outside his reach, it still validates what has been a spectacular year. And not to mention that if they are to win here, their seeding may just increase as well. So both subs occurring. Maru in for Chaney, Cerro out for Purpa. Presented by Seminole Casino Hotel Immokalee, more in Paradise. 1-0 to FC Naples. Carson Henderlong, who played just 5 matches with Indy 11 a season ago in USL Championship, showing up for an open tryout, despite Matt Pullen deep down knowing he'd likely sign him. Impressing at that open tryout and carrying that form over into USL League One play. Hitting the ground running, he's been amongst the top scorers all year long. And despite a slight blip towards the end of the year, he puts that all on the back burner ahead of the playoffs. Here's Purpa. Cisneros charging ahead. Ball deflected before it could reach Onan. Cleared only as far as Evans, though, and now Naples with the wind in their sails. Henderlong. Touch evades Kevin O'Connor. Purpa. Henderlong chasing after it. Maybe Charlotte can clear their lines. Well, work to do for the Jacks. Again, this goal won't prove as damaging as it could have been, given that results elsewhere went their way. So Charlotte would still go into the playoffs with a 1-point cushion. And obviously, Mike Jeffrey's side doesn't want to end the year on a negative foot. Cisneros is fouled. So as things stand, FC Naples has shot up to 5th now in the USL League One table. Right now, Union Omaha still holds a 2-1 lead over Spokane Velocity. But if Omaha were to drop points, Naples would be in a position to host next week. So things get a lot more interesting now. They put the pressure required on those Bujos. To be honest, regardless of whether or not Naples drops points, if this result were to hold, we would know the playoff matchup. It would just be a question of where it takes place, because Omaha would finish as low as 5th at this stage. Meanwhile, Naples could finish as high as 4th. Right now, that would take place at Werner Park. That could change, though, with one Spokane Velocity goal as the offside flag shoots up against Charlotte. Well, for those just joining us, Carson Henderlong opening the scoring in the 64th minute. A well-worked counter after the ball from Max Glasser, and the slightest of touches from Henderlong to take it over the line made the difference. And FC Naples leading their final regular season match against a Charlotte side it's already beaten once. O'Connor. It's one back by Fabrice Ngap. Maybe options the other way now for Charlotte. Jauregui. Heckenberg there to break it up. Inward, Juan David Moreno is getting set to enter for Charlotte. He's warming up for Tumi Moshibani. Torres has issues clearing his lines. Dimick onto it. Baquero. He would be the prime candidate to unlock this Naples back line, one that has been so obdurate all year. Jaime. Dimick. Flashing it in towards Maru. Third only as far as Jauregui. Torres continuing his run forward. And now the change will take place. So Juan David Moreno into the action for Tumi Moshibani, who caught the eye in moments but could never break through this Naples back line. That substitution presented by Seminole Casino Hotel Immokalee Moored Paradise. Moreno, 24 years old, a product of the Millonarios Academy in Colombia, joining from the youth ranks there on April 3rd and working his way into a regular super sub role. 3 goals to his name in USL League One play, so could definitely provide some danger for Naples to monitor, as Jaden Onen is still down on the turf.
Thank you to Seminole Casino Hotel, our valued partner. For those looking for a fantastic getaway, remember they offer luxurious accommodations, exciting gaming, and delicious dining. All to say,
I wonder if that's maybe his night. He just made the substitution motion. And that definitely is now a topic of concern, because now immediately questions will move to his availability for next week, which he is an integral piece in what they like to do going forward. Tyler Pasnick is getting set to replace him now. So Jaden Onen's night comes to a premature conclusion for a player that has battled some knocks this year. That's something that Naples fans will stew over in the week leading up to their quarterfinal match, regardless of when and where it is. He's walking off in his own power. We send our thoughts his way to one of the more exciting players in USL League One. Well, scoreline-wise, throughout the league, South Georgia Tormenta 3-0 over Texoma. 2 goals in the last 10 minutes by Yaniv Bazzini and Mason Tunbridge to put that out of reach against Texoma. And so, for seeding purposes, if Naples is to drop points, that gets interesting. They'd likely fall to 6th. As this change takes place, Tyler Pasnick, the 20-year-old Scotsman, replaces Jaden Oden. That substitution presented by Seminole Casino Hotel Immokalee. More in Paradise. Pasnick is someone who's very talented, despite his young age. Has seen his minutes fluctuate just due to the sheer presence of talent they have on the flanks, but native of Scotland who played in MLS Next Pro for Huntsville City for quite some time. Is also featured in the U.S. U19 Youth National Team fold. So, native of Scotland, but has been a player that the United States is keeping eyes on in terms of their youth national team fold. Best known for his time at Rangers in the academy ranks. Of course, Rangers, one of the historic giants of Scottish football. Perpa. It's pounced upon by Spielman. And now Moreno's first touch. And it's a good set of touches. Glasser is there to clear. Well, I'm sure he'll be much more pleased with what he's seen in the second half. It was the first half where at times his men looked a little tame. They did have the better of the action, but had yet to truly knife through that back line. And they do it in one swift motion to open the scoring. Max Glasser charging ahead, latching onto it, and then taking advantage of the open space to find Henderlong, who is so good at finishing counterattacking moves. As we're well inside the final 20, Naples finds themselves in a strong spot. Dimmick. Baccaro. Looking ahead, and brought down on the edge of the area, and our referee does blow the whistle. Reggie bundled over on the fringes of the penalty area, and the substitute, Tyler Pasnick, entering the book with his first involvement. This is a very inviting spot for a set piece as well for Charlotte. We see Baccaro plays it forward. Jauregui wrong foots Pasnick. It is clearly a challenge where he knows what he's doing and just is happy to introduce the contact before Jauregui ventures into the box. It is a tight angle here. You have to get this up and down quickly if you do go for goal. It's by no means impossible. And a lot for Delgado to monitor here. Moreno, Dimmick, as well as Baccaro all in the vicinity. It is Baccaro who takes, and it's well over the bar. And for all of the build-up, that was rather anticlimactic. Fantasy football is here. Live your dream, rep your team, and play as your favorite USL Championship club. eFootball is free to play. Download now. Final 15 minutes from Naples. A 1-0 advantage for FC Naples as they keep themselves in contention for a home playoff match. They still await help elsewhere. Maru looking to change that, though. And it's a brilliant stop from Delgado, who turns him away perfectly. Suebu Maru has a knack for a big goal. This threaded through brilliantly from Baccaro, and what a stop by Delgado with his outstretched boot. It gives us another Anderson corner kick. Corner kicks presented by Anderson as this is whipped in. Maru just misses it. Does run through to Jaime. Another chip ball in. This falls nicely for Torres, who launches it the other way and numbers the opposite direction for Naples. Glasser, a heavy touch down in the area, and the referee points to the spot. No hesitation from Corbin May, and Naples with a chance to wrap things up. Well, Max Glasser has been the out whenever Naples is under pressure, assisting Henderlong's opener and winning the penalty here. It is a slight shove from Fabrice Nga. He feels he's won it cleanly, and he's irate immediately after Corbin May's decision. But it's important to note there is no VAR in USL, so there is nothing that will overturn this choice. Unless he gets word from one of his assistants that this was egregious, this will stand. As of now, Naples presented with a golden opportunity to double their lead and wrap things up from 12 yards. Their usual taker, though, Andres Farine, unavailable. So as of now, Carson Henderlong stands over it. Has not been a regular penalty taker this year, but he is a regular finisher. And he'll stare down Amal Knight with a chance to seal things. Amal Knight has made big penalty stops in the past. He stares down one of the top scorers in the division, one of the more feared threats, someone who's already put it past him once tonight. It is Henderlong against Knight. A chance for Naples' top scorer to wrap it up. And that he does! Coolly into the back of the net, and it's all signed, sealed, and delivered effectively. It is a party in Naples, and Carson Henderlong is the man of the hour. Glasser goes down in the area. You can have your qualms with the decision, but Henderlong certainly doesn't, and he just drives it coolly into the bottom right. 2-0 Naples on their way to finishing their home slate in style. $14 on the season for Carson Henderlong. As of now, in sole possession of second place in the Golden Boot chase. Niall Reed-Stephen has not scored in the Tormenta match. He provides the hop-size goal, which has effectively sealed things, barring a colossal collapse from one of the best defensive sides in all of USL League One. Naples 2-0 lead. It is Carson Henderlong at the double yet again on home soil. Went 6 matches without scoring, and then he re-announced himself with a bang. And I tell you what, it is rather fortunate that results elsewhere broke Charlotte's way, because if they hadn't, they would find themselves on the brink postseason-wise. Fortunately for them, they will have another week to try and rectify things and spring a surprise on what will appear to be one Knoxville. Here's Jaime, hoping to add a late wrinkle to the tale, and that won't do so. Well, for those that have just flipped this match on decision day, Carson Henderlong re-announcing himself. A classic Henderlong tally on the counter in the 64th, and a penalty to wrap things up in the 80th. Now 14 goals to his name on the season, and Naples in line to round out the season in style. And now the question is, can they get help from Spokane and potentially host? And I've got good news for you if you are a Naples supporter, because that has just happened. Anwar Pelaez has equalized for Spokane. As things stand in the final 10 minutes, 2-2 in Omaha, which would put Naples in a position to host a playoff match. So this party might get just that much sweeter. They may play another match here on home soil.
Entering the game, replacing number 8,
Chris Eckenberg will vacate. A strong display from him, replaced by Gustavo Fernandez in a defensive-minded substitution. Presented by Seminole Casino Hotel Immokalee, more in paradise. The first half in which chances were few and far between. I'm sure Matt Pullen went in to halftime feeling a bit underwhelmed. He won't go into full time feeling underwhelmed. His squad decisively in front, and Henderlong is offside as he hunts his hat trick. It would take something dramatic for Charlotte to salvage something here. And when you look at the XG tally, it pretty much fits the scoreline. 1.72 compared to Charlotte's 0.58. Naples far and away the better performers, although this is chipped through to Dimmick, and Evans there to intervene. Corner for Charlotte, presented by Anderson. Trust your home to Anderson.
Substitution for Charlotte, Pele Kamaha Omasou.
More changes. Pele Usmanu will replace Bashir Njai. Usmanu returning from a brief injury absence in the closing stages last week against Chattanooga. He'll now finish the match in place of Njai. Charlotte has a corner. John Baccaro, the only man in the vicinity. Taken without swing to the back post. It's headed away by O'Connor comfortably. Only as far as Fabrice and Cobb. Back into the mixer. Baccaro. Inching towards the final 5 minutes. Here from Naples, Florida. Carson Henderlong at the double. A tale as old as Naples' inaugural season. Had a brace for the first time in a victory over Madison in mid-March. He's done that a number of additional times on this ground. Most recently did so in that draw against Westchester in the Snowbird Derby on August 30th. Had only scored once after that date the following week against Greenville Triumph. Has navigated his way out of a dry spell emphatically here. Adewole. Dimmick. For those curious about scorelines elsewhere, in the Players' Shield chase, 2-1 advantage now for Chattanooga. Still won't be enough with Knoxville leading. It would take a Greenville victory to change that. Jaime. That bends a bit further wide than he would have hoped. Herpa looking to play through. No avenue out for Henderlong and company there. This is sprayed long. Charlotte looking to add late intrigue. Jauregui. Baquero looking to switch the play and does so. Dimick back across. No issue for Evans. And now Henderlong, who's now hunting the hat trick and trying to navigate beyond Adewole, who just muscles him away. What a story that would be to conclude their regular season slate. Carson Henderlong has done many things. He has not scored a hat trick in USL League One play, despite the number of braces he's had. Ngab. Out wide, decent ball from Moreno. Balls back for Fabrice Ngab. Linking with Spielman, through for Swebu Maru. Didn't contact it cleanly enough, and the intervention did the job. And Delgado is back down. Remember, he had a bit of an issue in the first half. And he's grabbing the same area he was at the tail end of those opening 45 minutes. Remember, he's been the go-to all season long now for Naples. As you see Spielman play this into Maru. Slight touch from Glasser. What a performance he's put in so far. And after Delgado gets back up, immediately gripping that groin area. Either way, for Labada 239, it will be an evening that ends in the sweetest of fashions, especially if the scoreline in Omaha holds. A night in which they've fallen to as low as 6th in the table, with 7th beckoning, may end in 4th with a home quarterfinal match. They would have done it in circuitous fashion, of course, controlled their destiny heading into the final month. They will have still done it nonetheless if everything holds. Here's Moreno into the final minute of the 90 before stoppage time. Jaime. Spielman, a veteran of this Charlotte club. Moreno plays it back. Spielman again. Christopher Jaime, former Los Angeles FC Academy product. Not a bad one too, but it is broken up comfortably by Torres. Only as far as Moreno, though, who continues to dance on forward, and he does win a corner. So before things are done, another corner kick brought to you by Anderson. Trust your home to Anderson.
Stopped at 90 minutes, official time being kept
90 minutes, 3 minutes of added time. Here's the outswinging ball from Baquero toward the back post. It's away. That stoppage time presented by Tide Cleaners. At this point, the result seems all but wrapped up. Carson Henderlong, as he has been so often this season, the difference maker. Glasser charging after this. Instead, just a throw. An assist on Henderlong's first goal and an indirect assist by winning the penalty that led to his second. Jauregui. Evans clears only as far as Moreno. Adewole joining the attack. Running out of real estate. Long throw in. Only as far as Baquero now. Henderlong nearly knocked it away. And Mel Knight is there to mop it up. That is the only question. Does Henderlong secure that first Naples hat trick? Played back to Jauregui. Knocked towards Dimick. Cisneros is there. they will watch that Union Omaha Spokane result rather carefully here in Naples. Remember, this is one of the best home pitch advantages in the league. The playing surface is difficult to adjust to for visitors, and it's something Naples is quite familiar with, though. They can host here. What an advantage that would be in front of one of the better crowds in the league, especially among the expansion clubs. Into the final minute of the added 3, it is clear that Naples has done their part. Will Spokane do them a massive favor to close the season? Again, Charlotte, they know their fate. They are in as the 8th and final team into the playoffs after Avialta drew and Forward Madison suffered a crushing defeat at City Stadium earlier tonight. So Mike Jeffries and company still will live to fight another day and do so in the postseason. It's looking like they will do so at One Knoxville next week. It's not a favorable matchup, but it is a spot in the playoffs for yet another season. There is the full-time whistle. Naples ends their regular season on the highest of notes. Carson Henderlong at the double, powering FC Naples to a strong conclusion to the regular season. And now they await the result of Union Omaha and Spokane Velocity. If the current result holds, they will host. And hearing word that that result has just gone final, and you hear the cheers in the venue, that means that FC Naples will host a home playoff match as the 4 seed here next week. Matt Pullen fired up, and understandably so. His men will remain at home here in Naples in front of one of the better home crowds as they take part in their first ever USL League One postseason. It's time for our man of the match here tonight, and it is presented by WM. WM is driving sustainably. Of course, it's Carson Henderlong. Who else would it be? A brace in the second half to make the difference. The excellent finish to the counter-attacking move, and then the penalty to wrap things up on the stroke of the final 10 minutes. He, the man of the match, 2 goals to take his tally to 14, and now it's time for our play of the match, and it's his opener. What a well-worked counterattack this is, presented by Physicians Regional Healthcare System. Max Glasser with a peach of a ball in. Henderlong, the slightest of touches to take it beyond a Mel Knight, and that got Naples up and rolling just beyond the hour mark. They would see things out and double the advantage from there. In terms of our save of the match, presented by Carter Fence, quality fences, trusted service for over 35 years. It's this stop by Lalo Delgado. Did not have much work to do, but this denial on Swebu Maru from point-blank range when the score was 1-0 kept Naples in front, and it proved to be an invaluable save because it's one that kept them ahead and allowed them to secure a home playoff match. Well, that is where things finish. We'll step aside here from Naples when we return a look back at a consequential night here from Paradise Coast Sports Complex. Stick with us. We'll be right back here from Naples, Florida.
Pitches this over the top of the end line. A blast! Rustles the twine! Jaden Oden!
This is Oden across for Henderlong, and Naples in front.
Here on Florida's Paradise Coast, you can play your way. Whether you prefer an action-packed court, a leisurely round of golf, or the thrill of watching a professional soccer match, your only challenge is finding a way to do it all. So visit a luxurious playground that scores big for everything from its award-winning beaches to its incredible restaurants. Because when you want a vacation where all is perfect, only Paradise will do. Naples, Marco Island, and the Everglades.
We welcome you back to Naples, where it is a magical night on the Paradise Coast. Matt Pullens's men securing all 3 points, and with results elsewhere, clinching a home quarterfinal match. They'll play here next Saturday night in the 4-5 matchup in the USL League One playoffs. What an accomplishment for Matt Pullen and his squad. Well, let's look back at the 90 minutes that was here from Paradise Coast Sports Complex. A cagey first half, but Naples would jump in front in the second. You see some early chances for Naples, half chances, so to speak, on our full-time highlights presented by the Maxwell Mortgage team, but unable to find a way through, and you wondered if it wasn't Naples' night, if they would suffer yet another frustrating result on the final day of the season, but Carson Henderlong ensured that would not be the case, providing the breakthrough in the 64th minute after this lovely cross from Max Glasser. Henderlong doing just enough to deflect it in, negotiating beyond his center back in Toby Adewole, and then just driving it beyond Amal Knight. That was the opener, but there was more where that came from. On 77 minutes, another counter after this slight chance, from Suebu Maru. When the score was 1-0, Lalo Delgado makes a very impactful save, and then right on the other end, Max Glasser again on the counter, brought down by Fabrice Nga. Referee immediately points to the spot, to the frustration of Charlotte, and then Carson Henderlong rolling it into the bottom right. No mistakes made from 12 yards and no chance from Amal Knight. As you look at how that impacts the final standings presented by WM, FC Naples finishing in the top 4. What they so desperately craved has now occurred. As things stand, they will host Union Omaha in the 4-5 matchup on this ground a week from today. Meanwhile, Charlotte, they still clinch a playoff berth due to AV Alta and Forward Madison dropping points. As things currently stand, they will play at 1 Knoxville in the 1-8 matchup. So both in the playoffs. Naples definitely, though, the happier of the two sides in terms of outcomes. In terms of our full-time stats presented by Arthrex, does an injury have you benched? Explore orthopedic treatment options at orthopedia.com, powered by Arthrex. Charlotte actually had the better of possession and shots, but Naples far more clinical. That one shot on goal was the Maru chance. Other than that, Charlotte didn't create much. Naples definitely better value for their possession and better value for the goals as well. Unsurprisingly, they win by a 2-0 scoreline. Well, that is where things finish on a happy night here in Naples. FC Naples winning in 2-0 fashion, courtesy of a Carson Henderlong brace, and they ensure they'll play on home ground in the playoffs next week. For our terrific crew, I'm Sam Goldfarb, saying so long from the Paradise Coast, where our full-time score reads FC Naples 2, Charlotte Independence 0. Have a great rest of your night, everyone. From Naples, signing off.
This copyrighted telecast of the United Soccer League cannot be retransmitted, rebroadcast, or reproduced without the express written consent of the United Soccer League.